Next speaker, number 10, will have 4.5 minutes. And while we're doing that, Anne-Marie, the speaker to follow this will be Sue Francis. There's been a switch in the order. So speaker number 11 will be Sue Francis.
So while we're setting this up, my name's Frances. I'm from Texas, and one friend bought my plane ticket here, and another friend paid for my Uber. Other than that, I'm a part-time semi-salesperson for a flooring company, so they're the only ones that give me money, other than my husband sometimes gives me money. Limited. He's an accountant. So my presentation is up there. I hope you can see it. How do I go to the next one? Okay. Okay, or spacebar. And I hope I can see it. I had cobalt, chromium, nickel, molybdenum, titanium, and aluminum implanted in my hips for almost 8 years, thanks to my metal-on-metal total hip replacement devices. A happily married local news anchor in Raleigh, North Carolina, and a mother of 3 preschoolers. At age 39, I had both my hips replaced. This was 2011. Immediately, though, my hip pain got worse, and I developed multiple new health problems. There you see. My skin erupted, blisters all over. They would just crack open and bleed, and were very painful. I developed tinnitus, heart palpitations, tremor, and depression and anxiety. I cried all the time. I started falling while just standing still. I wasn't walking or tripping. I would just fall. Kidney pain woke me up daily, usually about 5 or 6 a.m., and lasted until I got up and went to the restroom. My Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroiditis became very difficult to manage, but my most upsetting symptoms involved my central nervous system. I began having migraines so severe, the emergency room doctors ordered CT scans, I think, to rule out stroke. Worst of all, my personality completely changed. I became paranoid, reclusive, scared, and angry all the time, which terrorized my very young family. During some of these fits I had, I threw our kids 3 iPods, $600 each, into the lake behind our house. I spray painted our den walls one time when I was mad at my husband. I kicked him once. I tore huge framed pictures off the walls and threw them across the room. None of these actions were anything I had ever done before getting the hips. I had become a very different person, and it was terrifying. Wanting to protect my family from these unpredictable PTSD-like rage attacks, I asked my husband to please take the kids and himself and find somewhere else to live, not so he would leave me or divorce me, but just so that they wouldn't have to live in fear of what might happen next, because I was afraid to. Serum cobalt and chromium tests that I had had to ask my doctor to order came back around 2 parts per billion each, but never rose above 4 parts per billion. My surgeon said that wasn't a big deal, had nothing to worry about. I went back to work finally after 7 months after having the hips put in, but had become too confused to function professionally as well as I had before I got the hips. I frequently acted like a dementia patient, missing promo shoots and getting lost on my way to work in a town where we had lived for the past decade, on the one interstate that runs through town. So I knew my 20-year career as a news anchor was over. We had to sell our house and move, ending up in a rat-infested rental unit with our kids qualifying for free lunch at the public school. My new kidney issues escalated, requiring a first-ever kidney surgery. Getting neither answers nor help from numerous doctors over the next 4 years and being told neither my hips nor the metals in my blood could ever be the cause of my new health problems, I videotaped my story and put it out on YouTube. I was desperate. Soon, hip patients reached out to me telling me that they, too, had developed many of these same problems after getting these implants. A mom in her early 40s was told by the chief of Duke Cardiology, "You have a failing metal hip, and it's killing your heart. It needs to come out immediately." Another young mom had developed seizure disorder. Her serum cobalt was no more than 0.09 parts per billion. She had 4 different hip replacements, and finally her systemic symptoms were so bad, she had the radical procedure, a girdle stone procedure, where they take everything out. She has nothing now connecting the bottom of her femur to her pelvis, extremely painful, and she will never walk. Patients of other medical devices started reaching out to me too, telling me they had had similar issues. They were afraid to talk about it. And another young mom with the same skin lesions was told by one device rep, hey, your device is a titanium device, but then she found out they can be coated with something that is either titanium or cobalt-chromium, and it's hard to find out exactly what you have. I can go into the studies I read. Basically, I found a study that said 300 parts per billion was the point at which the human body had symptoms. I thought that was odd, so I looked up the study author, found out that he had produced research for big tobacco, asbestos-related companies, and so on. He's an industry scientist. To find out the truth, I went to 2 trials related to my hips. I found out the data had been faked. Doctors had been coerced into using these and paid as consultant surgeons. And the study that my doctor had quoted to me saying I would never need other hips was completely fraud. And I did end up getting them both replaced. All my symptoms went away, except that I still have the tinnitus and I'm in daily pain. I can be on my feet about 1 to 2 hours a day unless I'm medicated with Celebrex or narcotics, which, as you know, have terrible, terrible side effects.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Thank you.